What's up everybody, it is I, Hero Vange, and welcome to my Ferocious Cup Meta Simplified Guide. Before we get into anything, I'm sorry it took a while to make this. I've been busy like the past couple of days, but yes, thank you for being patient. I know that a lot of you guys have been waiting for this. I got like so many DMs, so many messages, so many like straight up like tweets. Where's your Meta Simplified Guide? I need to save on that dust. And yes, I get you. This cup is actually pretty expensive, but I got you, alright? I got you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to make it my goal to help direct you in the right direction so that you use that dust on the right Pokemon, because there's a lot of intricacies when it comes to like IVs. I know, a little bit hassle, but I don't want you to spend your dust and regret it later when you get like a much better Pokemon, okay? Because there are some IV like bulk points that matter in this cup, like a lot, okay? So the thing is, the Ferocious Cup is very different compared to the other cups we had. See, the thing is, there's no specific types, right? There's no type like element set. And so you can't really look for best fire type for the Ferocious Cup, best dragon type for the Ferocious Cup. Also, because there's no set elements, right? A lot of the matchups are like soft countery type situations, neutral damage type situations, and that's why a lot of bulk points matter, right? A lot of IVs, like there's gonna be a lot of IVs in the Ferocious Cup. So if you're a person who doesn't like IVs, you might want to look into, before you spend your dust, right, into getting the best IVs possible. If you haven't ever gotten into like PvP IVs, now is the time, because a lot of the matchups are really dictated by IVs. Like I'm talking like massive jumps in outcomes, okay? So this is gonna be really important. Plus the thing is, because there's no set elements, once again, there's actually a lot of ways to solve problems, which is nice. You have options, okay? You have options, but I am going to hopefully direct you to the ones that have the best dust cost for the gains that you're gonna get, okay? So that's gonna be like part of my goal for this video. Without further ado, let's get into the graphic. I'm gonna give you like a base level understanding of the cup. It's very simple, okay? So it's kind of like a 3-layer cake, alright? So you got Umbreon up top, okay? Big Bad, the biggest, like the monster of the Ferocious Cup, okay? 85.4 win rate, okay? Is very important. Usually I don't mess around with win rate, right? Like I have it on the screen sometimes, but it's not that important. But in a cup where there's no set elements, right? It's nice to know that your Pokemon can like handle a lot of stuff, right? And that also means that there's not a lot of things that can kind of beat Umbreon. In some situations, it's almost like it's crazy how good this Pokemon is, okay? So yes, you have Umbreon. You have the Pokemon that beat Umbreon, alright? There's more. We'll talk about it, alright? Chill. There's a ton more, okay? And then there's the Pokemon that protect Umbreon from the stuff that beat it. Okay, so it's a 3-layer cake. And then these Pokemon at the very bottom, Umbreon beats those. Okay, plus there's more. Alright, so don't judge it right now. We're gonna talk about it. So again, there's Umbreon, right? Umbreon right here, okay? There's the Pokemon that beat Umbreon, and then there's the Pokemon that beat the stuff that beat Umbreon, and then Umbreon beats all of those Pokemon. So simple, right? Very simple, but there's so much more happening inside, right? Inside that Christmas tree, inside this 3-layer cake is a layer of chocolate, is a layer of jelly, is a layer of like a lot of surprises, okay? You might even find like, I don't know, a gift in there, okay? So the thing is, I want you to look at this graphic in a different way from my old graphics, okay? Now usually for my graphics, I have like this thing where it goes from like left to right. Left beats the right side. Oh, left is the most dominant Pokemon. You hear me say that in my Meta Simplified guides, right? But in this case, I am prioritizing hard counters on the left, right? So Alolan Ninetales here is the hard counter to Umbreon, much harder compared to like, let's say, Minun. Minun is a softer counter, and then the bulky waters over there on the right, softest counters, okay, to Umbreon. But there's more. Again, there's more. There's a lot more counters to Umbreon. We're gonna talk about it, right? So yes, that's how this kind of like plays out. Now the thing is, because the Ferocious Cup is so complex with the multiple typings, you have to have like a base level of like type advantage. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to show you every single matchup here in this. Like an arrow from Suicune isn't gonna go flying over to, you know, down here Aggron, something like that, right? But you have to kind of like rely on your base level common sense knowledge, because what this shows you is kind of like a different way of how the cup interacts with. It's not a type based type situation, because again, a lot of the cup is neutral. A lot of the cup is like soft countery type situations, right? And I want to show you like the most efficient way to crack these problems, okay? Because there are like some massive problems here that you have to have your team prepared for, and it, you know, it doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with type effectiveness sometimes, but again, because there's so many complexities with the things, you're gonna have to rely on your water beats earth. Okay, not that hard, right? Earth. Oh, why am I saying earth? Ground. Oh my god, ground beats electric. All right, that type of situation. Okay, there's like just this base level easy type advantage that you're gonna need to have, which you probably already do, okay? Last thing for generalities, if you're looking for like holes, right? Like plot holes for the cup, this is actually a fantastic graphic to show you that. Why? Because the left side, because there's such hard counters, they're also the most fragile Pokemon in the cup. If you want to target something, right? Ninetales here, it can farm down Umbreon, but so many things farm down Ninetales, alright? Like the left side of the cup, like the left side here, is the most fragile part of the cup, okay? So I think that this graphic is going to serve you so well. Without further ado, let's get into the specific Pokemon. Umbreon is the meta-defining, the dominant, the alpha Ferocious Cup Pokemon, alright? Now the thing is, one of the most important and common questions that have been asked for, you know, the past couple of days is, do you need the last resort, right? That's something that you're watching for right now. What's my hot take on, do you need the last resort, right? Here's my take, okay? It's a very, very simplified take. I think it's gonna answer some of your questions. The things that you need a last resort for is Skuntank, okay? Alolan Raticate, and the mirror. Skuntank, you definitely need the last resort for Skuntank here. You see that? Okay, you come out with like what, 30 HP, but actually he has a loaded up crunch, so yeah, if he gets that off, it's you come out with like 5 HP, okay? But yes, you need the last resort, because if you don't have it, you're gonna lose, okay? Even if it's a straight sludge bomb, actually, yeah, you lose. Alolan Raticate, okay, another one. You're gonna lose if you don't have the last resort. Yeah, if you have Dark Pulse, Foul Play, once again, you lose, okay? But the thing is, with Raticate, if it's running this specific moveset, but the thing is, I recommend this a little bit, okay, for testing, Hyper Beam, okay? Look into it, look into it, okay? We're not gonna talk about this that much, but look into it, okay? So yeah, if it has Hyper Beam, no matter what, even if you have the last resort, right, you're gonna lose. Actually, you have to block the Hyper Beam, right? But the thing is, even if you have last resort, right, as long as it baits you one time with a crunch, you're dead, okay? It'll land this Hyper Beam plus an extra crunch, so you have 2 chances to bait, right? You lose. Finally, the mirror, okay? And this one, I think, is the most important. You lose the mirror without a last resort. Skuntank, Alolan Raticate, plus the mirror. Do I think that Skuntank, let's start off with Skuntank, okay? Do I think that the Skuntank is going to be meta relevant? Is it gonna be one of the most popular, most common Pokemon that you're gonna encounter in the cup? Honestly, no. I predict that it's going to trend down when people start getting more dust. When people start getting more dust, Skuntank is gonna go down. Why? You're gonna see a lot of people uploading videos with Skuntank in the gameplay, alright? You're gonna see a lot of Skuntank teams, because people have it from Season 1, okay? But if you don't have a Skuntank, I would suggest not building one for this cup, because I feel that it is one of the weakest anti-charm Pokemon. There's better choices, guys. Much better choices, alright? I'm putting it out there. I feel like Skuntank is going to be less common for the cup. Now, the thing is, for the people who came from Season 1, right? If you already have it, you don't want to spend dust right now on other anti-charmers. Yeah, go ahead. Just make sure it has crunch. All right, just make sure it has crunch. Now moving on to Alolan Raticate. Do I think it's going to be a common Pokemon? Do I think it's going to be meta relevant? My answer, honestly, not so sure. Not so sure. This one might, but I feel like it's not a suitable replacement for Umbreon. There is no suitable replacement for Umbreon in this cup. What you can do is like have multiple Pokemon that have high win rate in your team. Instead of doing that, Alolan Raticate might trend up if people do start to feel that it is a suitable replacement. But the thing is, it opens you up to another form of hard counter, right? Counter Pokemon, Ursaring and Donphan, right? So I feel like it's so much weaker compared to Umbreon because Umbreon beats those Pokemon in the right shielding scenarios if you block the right way, okay? We'll talk about that later, okay? Because Donphan is actually pretty insane, okay? But Alolan Raticate, I don't think has the same secret sauce that Umbreon has. So I feel like it's not going to be, but the thing is that Hyper Beam set that I showed you, right? That was something that I was kind of like saving for like another video. I was thinking of like making that, but it's kind of nice. It's kind of like, test it out, right? Tell me what you think down below. But I like right now, not so sure about Raticate. Finally, the mirror. Yes, 100%. Absolutely. You need the last resort Umbreon for that matchup, okay? Unless you live in an ideal world where nobody has last resort Umbreon, you're gonna need it, okay? And you're gonna encounter it in the tournament and you're gonna feel bad when you have like a mirror match and you don't have that last resort. Stunky? Alright, I don't think so. Okay, Raticate? Not so sure. I can't predict the future. Umbreon, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so what does that mean? What do I advise that you do? Now, for all the people who don't have last resort Umbreon, this is my advice to you, okay? Watch that video, alright? That's from Pogo King. It is a more detailed analysis of last resort versus non-last resort, okay? That you have to do that for sure, okay? So one, okay? The second one is look at your box. Look if you have a high IV Umbreon, alright? I'm talking like 99 PvP IV Umbreon, something like that, right? Build it and use it, alright? Build it up, 99%, like as high as you can get, the best Umbreon that you can possibly have, as high as you can go, okay? If you have something like that, build it, you can use it, it's fine. You see, the thing about Umbreon is, the nature of Umbreon is that it's got this fantastic, amazing win rate. It can beat so many things in the Ferocious Cup. It's the meta-defining Pokemon, but it's also one of the softiest, yes, that's the word, I made that, yes, softiest, okay? Softiest Pokemon in the Ferocious Cup. Alright, look at this. Look at this, okay? Lyron, one of the Umbreon bodyguards, one of the most, like, best Umbreon bodyguards, he comes out with 7 HP, okay? He comes up loaded, but that's nice, but comes up 7 HP. There's a lot of matchups like this with the Umbreon bodyguards, right? That is very, 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 very close. A lot of those matchups come up like that, right? Single digit HP. You jiggle, you wiggle the IVs a little bit, it's a loss. It's a loss, guys, okay? So have that fantastic Umbreon. Have that 99% up Umbreon. Have confidence that you can pull off that 85 point something percent win rate minus Raticate, minus Skuntank, minus the mirror, okay? The mirror is the most important, okay? You might not even encounter Eradicate, you might not even encounter Stunky, right? Watch Pogo King's video and know those matchups, okay? Know those matchups, alright? Because if you have that knowledge, you have a fantastic IV Umbreon, it'll do the job. It'll do the job, okay? Now, for the people who don't have good IV Legacy Umbreon, still use it. You know, you were given that gift. You have it. You have that last resort. You can beat the mirror. You can beat a lot of things, right? Because right movesets is fantastic. Okay, for the people who don't have a Legacy, plus don't have a good IV Umbreon, right? A good IV Eevee. Well, now that's a situation right there. You can trade for the Flower Crown every week, right? So many people hate that thing. You can trade for it. It's not a necessity, okay? It's not 100% like I have to have this Umbreon, okay? But it's strong. It's really strong, right? Plus, if you know how to use it properly, it's really strong. Okay, so that's my advice. All right, so I hope that answered your question. We're moving on to Ninetales, and Ninetales is a really hard counter. Probably, well, it is the hardest counter to Umbreon, and honestly, in my opinion, right, the best fairy charm user in the cup. Now there is Granbull, yes, it is a fairy charmer as well, has higher attack, but Glacier. The thing is, with the way that the stats have, kind of like left the matchups, it's not as good. It does have some matchups like Bibarel, right? So that makes it a side grade. You want something that can beat Umbreon and maybe you have problems with Bibarel? Yeah, sure, Granbull. But Ninetales has Suicune, has the Mirror Mash. It can beat Granbull, right? Has a better time versus Vaporeon. This can also beat Vaporeon, but very IV dependent. But what about the cat? I would suggest no. Alright? No. Okay? First of all, you need a Hundo. You need to max it out to level 40, so that's gonna cost you like an arm and a leg in dust, okay? And it's not as good. It's just not as good. Like, you can run the matchups. It's not as good as Ninetales or Granbull. I'm actually not sure, but definitely not as good as Ninetales. Now, I want to show you something really important, okay? Vaporeon versus Ninetales default stats, alright? Look at this, alright? Default stats. Take a look at this. It comes out with 3 HP, okay? 3 HP. What happens if you maximize? Let me show you. It's gonna come out with, bam, 34 HP. There's a bulk point. There is a bulk point, guys. With the maxed out stats, so with good IV Vaporeon, good IV Ninetales, it is 136.6. Okay, so like, let's round up, 137. Alright, 137 defense. Now, the thing is, Vaporeon isn't gonna be maximized all the time, right? It's not gonna be maximized all the time. Now, is there a bulk point for like higher attack Vaporeon? Yes, there is. It's actually higher at 137.8, right? So if you want to guarantee you're gonna come out with like 30 HP, right? Which is big because Charm does a lot of damage, right? You need 138, okay? But for the most part, as long as you have like 136 point something, high, or 137, you're fine. It's just something to think about when you're building your Ninetales, okay? Look for a higher defense Vulpix before you evolve, right? Before you set stuff up. And you can check that here. You can just like plug the IVs, play around with the level a little bit because sometimes like the CP goes over to like 1,500, right? So yeah, play around with it. Make sure that the defense is like 137, something like that. 100. If you can get 138, ooh, spicy. Moving on to Minun, which even though it is an expensive dust investment, I think it's a worthy investment, right? If you have the dust, because it can beat Umbreon. It's the electric type that can beat Umbreon, okay? Straight Thunderbolt. If you can get the bait, nice. But yeah, straight Thunderbolt will do it. Plus, it can take out the bulky waters. Now, the bulky waters can do it, right? They can beat Umbreon, right? But the thing is, I want you to know that they are the softest counters for Umbreon, right? It's honestly not even reliable. And I want you to know, this is another important point here, okay? For Suicune, okay? If you're studying for the cup, do not believe the win rate, right? Do not believe that 82 point something win rate because it's based off Suicune getting like the perfect shots, right? Like perfect bubble beam baiting, perfect like stuff like that, right? Don't believe it. Honestly, for most of the simulations involving Suicune, I would suggest not to believe it, okay? Because the thing is, Suicune is one of those Pokemon where it's gonna require you to have like a higher level of skill, right? A higher level of knowledge as well to play perfectly, okay? Probably impossible, to be honest with you. But the thing is, it's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Can it beat Umbreon in the most perfect situation? Sure. But is it gonna happen? Possibly. Maybe. Right? But I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to really study Suicune to understand it, and I think you're gonna need to as well. Vaporeon, on the other hand, is a lot clearer, okay? You land the Hydro Pump, that's it, okay? You get the bait with the Aqua Tail, land the Hydro Pump, great, fantastic, okay? You got the Umbreon. If you don't, no. If you land it and you have bad IVs, you know, it's very, 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 very clutch. How clutch? 2 HP, alright? 2 HP. That's super clutch. If you have nice IVs, you can push it up all the way to 8 HP. Alright? Not a lot of bulk point, no real bulk point there, but you know, it's a little bit better, right? It's a little bit better. But what about Bibarel? Bibarel, I would say, is a fantastic choice. It's a good Pokemon, right? It just doesn't fit in that part of the graphic because it doesn't beat Umbreon, right? It doesn't do it, okay? But the thing is, it's a good choice because it's got playable matches against the water types, right? You block the right thing, you win. You don't block the Hydro Pump, it kind of hurts, it sucks, you lose, okay? But you can kind of like play that. You can beat those. Plus, it can beat Ninetales, right? It can beat Ninetales, which is nice because Ninetales in this layer of the cake is actually the most dominant Pokemon, right? So Ninetales beats Minun, Ninetales beats, I showed you Vaporeon already, it has that bulk point, beats Suicune, plus beats the other charm users, right? Plus beats all the alternatives that we're about to talk about. So it's nice in that kind of like idea, but Bibarel as a Umbreon counter is a no, right? It's just not that type of Pokemon, but it does the job of a water type. It has playable matches against fellow water types. It's got Ninetales. It's good. It's a very versatile Pokemon, okay? I'm not saying that it's the third tier pick for the water types. No. It's a side grade for sure. Last two things that we have to talk about in regards to the bulky waters before we move on to the alternatives, right? Is one, do you need the last resort for Vaporeon? Answer, no, definitely not. The difference for me, insignificant, dude, insignificant. Plus I would favor a much better IV Vaporeon. So yeah, Hydro Pump all the way, okay? Not really. If you have a last resort plus it's got nice IVs, sure, cool, nice, all right. But Hydro Pump for the people who don't. The other thing that I want to talk about is that these Pokemon have some of the highest win rates, okay? Bibarel included, okay? Now, if you don't have yourself an Umbreon, it might be a good idea to double up on these bulky water Pokemon. Now, the thing is, I did tell you not to believe that win rate for Suicune, but I feel like it is very powerful, right? I feel like these guys can kind of like circumvent that problem of people not having either a legacy or really fantastic IVs on their non-legacy, right? Type situation, because their coverage is pretty good, okay? Alternatives. Other Pokemon that can beat Umbreon, most of them are dark types, alright? You can out-dark Umbreon, okay? Tyranitar is one of them, but the thing about the alternatives is you're opening yourself up to a lot of problems, guys. A lot of problems, okay? Because it's a rock type and a dark type, counter will straight up destroy Tyranitar. Plus Donphan, I am actually recommending Donphan later. We're gonna talk about it, okay? So yeah, not a good thing. Plus waters, right? Rock's weak to water, but you know, if you have this, you wanna flex it, or I honestly don't know. Smackdown Tyranitar, sure, cool. Leopard, bruh! You have charm users that are good, okay? That are not that hard to get. Okay, yes, I know this is kind of common. Well, when the event ends, it's gonna be a lot more common, but you have charm users that are actually like much better, alright? You can do it, cool. You like cats, okay, alright, you do you then. Weavile, this one, interesting. This one maybe, I would kind of like put this to testing alongside Hyper Beam, Raticate. We're not gonna talk about that, I already showed you that earlier. Yes, because you can straight Focus Blast. Because Snarl got buffed, it can get these things off like papa, it's pretty fast, it's insane, okay? So Weavile, possibly good. Plus with Avalanche, right? And with the Avalanche, that's, you know, looking pretty good. Nice coverage, okay? I think about it, but the win rate's also pretty bad. But plus, since it's Dark Ice, fighting type again, okay? Plus, you know, we're gonna talk about Donphan later, okay? Last one, this is fake news, okay? This is straight up fake news. Are you gonna do this? I don't think so. This Charm Raichu. Another one is Marowak Kanto, like the ground type, right? Like the normal Marowak with, I think, Rock Smash, okay? You're not gonna do that. Are you good? You're gonna do? Okay, fine. You do you then. You do. I don't think you're gonna do it though. But you do you. You know what's really satisfying? Now that I've explained to you like the top layers of the cake, the bottom layers are just gonna make sense to you, right? These Pokemon guard Umbreon from the groups up, like on the second layer. Now, some of them are super mega level hard counters to some of the Pokemon in the second tier, right? Others have two groups in the bag, right? So they have two groups, solid counters to those Pokemon. Other Pokemon are softer counters, like Linoon over there, right? But has the three groups, okay? So these are my recommendations. There's actually more. You can actually like pick a couple more. I have like some alternatives we can talk about, but for the most part, these are my recommendations. Let's start with the Steel Rocks. And the Steel Rocks are really hard counters to the Charmers, alright? Specifically Alolan Ninetales, which is like the pillar to beating Umbreon, the really big problem that Umbreon has, okay? And these guys, no blocking, no charge attacks thrown. They can just fast attack Ninetales down, and they dissolve it, right? They dissolve it. If it gets to a charge attack, cool beans, I can take it. Psyshock, bruh, okay? Ice Beam, bruh. Now, the difference between Lyron and Aggron, right? Why would you choose one over the other is the charge moves, okay? So the thing is, Lyron, okay, as you can see, straight fast attack, dead, right? If it gets to one of these, it's all good. You can take it. No blocking, but you have, you come out with Body Slams to throw or Rock Slide, or you can go, if you like, Heavy Slam, okay? You can do that as well. Sure, cool beans. You just farm it down, throw deadly charge attacks at the next Pokemon. You might get the shield, you might get the kill, you might do a lot of damage. It's a great time. Now with Aggron, I kind of favor this guy. Why? Because he has Thunder. Alright, he has Thunder. So if Suicune pops in, what's up? How you doing? Boom. Thunder, okay? Vaporeon pops out, Bibarel comes out, Thunder, alright? And people might not even know this, or I don't know. Honestly, they're probably gonna find out in the practice matches, okay? Plus Heavy Slam, plus Stone Edge is nice as well, but obviously like not as spammy as Lyron, but that Thunder though, right? Think about that KO potential, like big damage, or actually hit anything with Thunder, it's gonna hurt, right? So yeah, I kind of favor Aggron a little bit more, but if you like spam ability, Lyron. Alright, so now we're moving on to the Earth group, okay? The Ground group, which is Nidoking, Nidoqueen, and what's this? What is that? Are you recommending number 72 PV Poke ranking Excadrill? Yes, I am. Let me tell you, I like this Pokemon. Excadrill, number 72. 72, guys, on PV Poke ranking. Now, I don't really mind the ranking that much, but I mean, when have you used something that far down the list? Alright, it's good, dude. Look at this, okay? Ninetales, alright? It's ground steel, so it can kind of handle Ninetales the same way that Lyron and Aggron can. Just straight fast attack, no blocking. It's not even gonna get to the Psyshock, but if it does, you can handle it, you can take it, and then blow up the next Pokemon with, you know, charge attacks, Drill Run, Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Slide, your choice. But I do suggest that you have Drill Run because for Minun, it's amazing. You can straight Drill Run, no blocking as well. What the frick? Where did... This is such a good Pokemon. I really like Excadrill. It is a good choice. Consider it. Now let's talk about the Queen. Nidoqueen is also pretty strong, but the thing is, it's somewhere in between Lyron, Aggron, and Excadrill because it has to block the Psyshock from Ninetales, okay? It can still farm it down. Straight Poison Jab, bap, 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 right? But you have to make sure to block that Psyshock because it will kill you. Okay, since it's a psychic move and since you're a poison type, psychic is super effective on poison, right? It'll kill you. Alright, so for Nidoqueen, you have to block Ninetales. You have to block this Psyshock because if you don't, you die, okay? You can't get cocky with Ninetales with Nidoqueen, but, you know, still fantastic that you can farm down and then throw big time, big damage moves like Earth Power, which is fantastic because even if they block, you still have that 10% chance to get that debuff, right? You've got Earthquake, Sludge Wave, you're probably not gonna run that Stone Edge. Also, you can consider that, yes, fantastic Pokemon. Plus, with Minun, it's around the same as Excadrill. No blocking, straight Earth Power, you got it. Now for Nidoking, you actually don't need to have the Fury Cutter. You don't, right? You can run it Poison Jab, it works a lot like Nidoqueen. You can farm down Ninetales and stuff in things. But let me tell you about Fury Cutter, okay? The advantage that Fury Cutter gives you is that you are the fastest Earth Power in the meta. So for Nidoking, for Ninetales, you're gonna go straight Earthquake, or you can bait with Earth Power, but why risk it, right? Why risk it? Just go straight Earthquake, make it a sure thing, bap bap, dead, right? For Minun, it's straight Earth Power. You just throw really, really fast. So fast that you actually outspeed Nidoqueen, plus most of the stuff that we just talked about on that side of the cake, right? Like the left side of the cake, right? For that tier, right? To their charge attacks, and so you can beat them pretty clean, right? You can just, you know, you outspeed them, you outgun them. So this makes Nidoking a what? A really good finisher Pokemon, right? Specifically Fury Cutter, right? Because it gets there so much faster. You can get to Earthquake so fast. So yeah, think about it. But what about Alolan Marowak? Alolan Marowak has Ninetales, has Minun, straight Bone Club, right? So can't you consider making this like an alternative Pokemon to these ground Pokemon? Yes, I would, and I did. I had it on my graphic, but then I had this thing with Toshi. If you know him, he's like from the Go Stadium, fantastic PvPer. He was like, he was hitting me up on Twitter. He was like, "So you like Marowak, huh? What do you like about Marowak?" So I explained that whole thing that I just said, and then he said, "But the thing is, you know, Umbreon beats Marowak like big time, bro." Plus, you know, the water types. There's just so many things that beat Marowak. Like, you really want to risk it? Okay? I'm asking you the same thing. You really want to risk it? Because I got scared. I was like, oh god, Toshi just like made me sit down. So I was like, okay, I'll take it out of the graphic. But yeah, if you have it, you don't want to spend the dust on other stuff, sure. Skuntank needs fantastic top of the line PvP IVs to be not as good as Nidoqueen, not as good as Nidoking, not as good as Excadrill rank 72 PV poke for the Ferocious Cup, right? Not as good as them because he still has to throw his charge attacks to beat Ninetales, right? He just can't farm them down, okay? Minun, he definitely has to block, okay? He still has to block. So, not as good as the other ones that I just recommended. And so I would suggest not using it, right? And also that goes back to the thing that we just talked about. I think it's gonna trend down. Legacy Thunder Shock Raichu is nice because it can outspeed, out-electrify Minun straight Wild Charge for the kill. Clean kill, okay? It's got the bulky waters. That's a given, right? What else does it have? It's got Brick Break, which is really nice in this meta. Really, really nice. Last one is Linoon. Now, I tried to look for something that can handle like all three of these, the second layer groups, but I honestly, like, it's so hard. It is super hard. You can find like Pokemon that can handle like 2 groups. Some Pokemon can handle like Fairy plus water, but are very soft counter, like Bibarel, right? Bibarel can handle the waters, but you know, sometimes if you get nabbed with a Hydro Pump, it might not work out, right? But Linoon is kind of that generalist type soft counter situation, right? Linoon is kind of like your jack of all trades type Pokemon, but master of none. Very soft counter situation, but the thing is huge, massive coverage, right? Let's talk about it one by one. Ninetales, it's so close, super close, like single digit HP, sometimes 1 HP if you don't go straight charm, right? But if you don't go straight charm, you kind of might lose that shield, plus what might come up later is an Aggron, and then like, well, no use for that energy, right? So yeah, that type of situation, but yes, it's very close. It might be an IV thing, I'm actually not sure, okay? For Minun, you have to land the dig. You cannot double dig, you get out spammed, but you know, it's nice to know that you can kill Minun, so you do have that chance. But again, soft counter situation, high skill level for this Pokemon. For Suicune, let's skip that, alright? Let's skip Suicune. For Vaporeon, straight Grass Knot, you got that. Lyron Aggron, straight Grass Knot, you got that. Interesting thing with Nidoking and Nidoqueen, right? Linoon can take Nidoking, right? Straight Grass Knot, you got that, okay? With Nidoqueen, it's actually difficult because it can survive a Grass Knot. It can survive that Grass Knot, and so yeah, that's kind of hard. That you're gonna lose that one, but you can go for the dig after for more damage, but you're still gonna lose, okay? Excadrill, straight Grass Knot, you got that. With Raichu, straight Grass Knot, you got that. So you got that whole like bottom layer of the cake. Unfortunately, it's not an Umbreon Slayer, right? That would really put it over the top. The last Pokemon that I want to talk about is the true utility Pokemon in this cup. It is Donphan with Counter, Play Rough, and Heavy Slam, alright? Counter, Play Rough, Heavy Slam, okay? Because the thing is, it can transcend the layers of the cake. It can handle Umbreon. Alright, take a look at this. With the Play Rough, if you can land it, right? Ba-bam! You can kill it, right? Okay, so you no need to go for the fake news charm, Donphan. Yes, you can do there's better charmers, right? You know that. Okay, we can do it with a counter because counter is super nice for the cup. Okay, think about all the farmable matchups that you could possibly have, right? With the Steel Rocks. Steel Rocks, you can straight farm that down. Excadrill, even if it's not a Steel Rock, even if it is part ground, you can still farm it down. Take that, whatever it throws, and yeah, just keep going. And then, because you're ground type, you don't have to block Minun, you don't have to block Raichu, you can just go straight Heavy Slam for the kill, alright? Raichu does get pretty close with the Brick Break, which is nice for Raichu. Nice Brick Break, right? But yeah, not enough. And finally, you have some matchups where you do lose them, but if you had just the tiniest, teeny tiniest 1 counter, 2 counter, bit more energy, you can beat them. Like Linoon, okay, boom, look at that. That's like what, 1, maybe 2 counters, Heavy Slam, and Ninetales, you have a fully built up Heavy Slam. So yeah, if you had like 1 counter advantage, you could kind of like throw, or maybe you might be able to throw this if you is under tapping still. I don't know, but yes, Donphan is a very good utility Pokemon. And there you have it. This is my meta simplified guide for the Ferocious Cup. I hope I taught you something today. You picked up on some stuff. Like, there's so many ways that you could kind of like draw out this meta, and I chose like a Christmas tree or like or a cake, right? A 3-layer cake plus, you know, a utility Pokemon on the corner there. So yeah, if you want to take a screenshot, got it? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Remember to leave a like, comment down below which Pokemon is your favorite out of all the Ferocious Cup Pokemon. Subscribe if you haven't yet, ding that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys!